Hi, my name's Athena from GIG GOER, and today I'm joined by Grayscale. Can you just take it back to the basics? Can you tell us a little bit more about the album title and why Umbra?
Yeah, totally. So, hello everybody. I'm Collin. I'm Nick. We are in the band Grayscale, and we're excited to be here. GIG GOER. We're excited to be doing this. Thank you. To answer your question, Umbra as a title, um, it the title of the record kind of speaks to like not just the lyrics, the visual aspect of it, the way it sounds and feels, the vibe, all of it fits into the title Umbra in the sense that Umbra in a celestial sense is the complete darkness and coldness that exists in a space behind an eclipse, and I feel like that on a larger scale speaks to like the lyrics and everything in terms of them coming from a place of like an inner conflict type of place, and man versus self, man versus nature are kind of the literary narratives that you're going to run into on Umbra a lot. And a lot of the record is about my personal experiences, not only just the storytelling of them, but how I feel about them. And a lot of the time, these stories and how I feel are coming from this place of internalized conflict. So that's kind of, I mean, I could go on about, how that relates to every, each song individually, but that's kind of big picture how it ties in. And the record cover, like the look of it itself, it's this, cream colored album art with the text Umbra in the middle and this kind of dark, like greenish, gritty, moving, kind of moody text. And the intention of that was just to kind of tie into the concept of a lot of the songs on the record. They may sound playful or poppy or whatever, but like the actual story behind them, if you look at the lyrics, even if the song sounds kind of upbeat and lighthearted, the story is generally coming from a place of like confliction, and there's wickedness in the lyrics, and there's kind of like turmoil amongst a lot of it. So it's kind of hard thing to explain on the spot, but it's more of, it's not so much a concept album, but the red thread that runs through it all is very much, the feeling, the energy, like where it's coming from a similar place, all of the songs.
That was really thought-provoking, and it's got so much depth to it. I love it. And you talked a little bit about the album cover, but just more generally with the aesthetic and with leading up to the album, it seems like there's more of a shift towards a more vintage look with this record. So can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, so our creative director Jordan shot all of the footage, all of the film, like the still, all of the photo stills are all shot on film. Like, and then our music video for Dirty Bombs was also shot on what is it, motion picture film. Yes. So yeah, they're very much is like a, like a kind of, I don't know if moody is the right word, but like a very like grainy, real kind of like, I guess, moody vibe to it. Like, it's just got that intangible vibe that film has, and we felt that creatively speaking, where we are as people, as a band, what the record means to us, what the record's about, the vibe of the record, the feel of it, where we're at in our career, and what the record means to us as a band. It all made sense to be kind of approached in that way. And a lot of it, like we wanted, for our first record, Adornment was this big collage album cover, and then Nella Vita was this photo of this girl striking a pose, and it had all this like meaning to it. And Umbra is a very loaded meaning in terms of like the vibe and the feeling of the record, like I had explained a moment ago. But we wanted to take a more minimal approach with the album cover specifically, and kind of let the photos from the rollout and the vibe and that feeling kind of come through. And not so much paint a picture with the album cover, but kind of just the look and feel of it with the images and all of that film type photography kind of, it articulated that for us. And we kind of didn't want people going in looking at the cover with any kind of preconceived notion. Like, we wanted you to have to listen to it to feel it. Because I think, as I'm sure we'll probably get into more, like sonically, it's the record that we feel most fulfilled with. It's the most, to us, the most profound record in terms of the sound and what we've found as a band and what we've refined towards, and the most organic and natural kind of sonic elements, you know, to us as artists, exist on this record for sure.
Yeah, and continuing on that note, just, you know, you mentioned sonically, it's very kind of the most you found yourself. So how did you find your sonic identity with Umbra?
It's a good question. I think
a lot of it has to do with our diverse music taste, really, amongst the five of us. It goes like from oldies to modern pop to like just everything. So I, like Collin was saying, you start off with adornment. It's like you kind of find your place, you know, where you are in music, and from there you grow, you know, organically. And Collin has explained this before, a few times, but we've kind of like with Adornment and Ella Vita have been kind of walking through the woods to kind of find this like trailhead to lead us to this place where we feel like is the right path to start on. And that's what this record is. It's the right, you know, sonic sound, the right look, everything we want it to be. This is kind of like the start of that adventure. You know what I mean?
It's so, like
it's just, it's a lot of things that, you know, a conglomerate of things between the five of us sonically that we put together and kind of found this sweet spot. So.
Yeah. And I think it's one of those things where, you know, you can look at it and be like, oh, is this, you know, I think a question we get asked a lot of what were you listening to? What influences, you know, were a part of this record? And it's kind of different. Like for us, the answer to that more so is like, even, you know, we grew up like, Nick, our drummer, grew up playing jazz drums, like traditionally trained with jazz. I learned jazz drums first, then we transitioned to rock. Like Dallas loves 80s music, and Phil Collins, and Andrew he grew up playing guitar in church and loves, you know, kind of like soulful, gospel-y stuff. He loves blues and R&B, and I love hip hop, and he loves all kinds of other shit. What other shit do you love?
It's like heavier stuff.
Heavy
just
stuff.
Different stuff. Yeah, everyone's got something.
Yeah, and I think it's more an element. It isn't so much like, oh, what were we listening to? I think the thing that's different about our band is like, these are things that are not only part of our DNA as people and listeners of music, but as students of music. Like, we are learned, you know, we've learned jazz first before rock. We've learned blues on guitar, and learned a lot of the shit that we've, you know, started with was, you know, 80s stuff, and that's what we grew up listening to. And all that being said, it isn't what we were listening to at the time. You know, you could hear Nella Vita, us to start pulling some of those influences that we've been listening to and have been learning since we were kids. And then Nella Vita was kind of the first album we started doing that, and then Umbra was the next one where I think our experience, our songwriting acumen, our comfortability as artists, and how we want to express it, and when, you know, it's always been a matter of, you know, not if, but when and how do we feel we're going to pull all these things, all these different kinds of music that we love, and make it Grayscale, and make it unique, and make that a part of our songwriting, and like really naturally make that into our sound the way that it's supposed to be. And I think this was the record where just timing, experience, patience, we were able to do that and pull those things and put them in to a sound, and find a sound that we really feel, like we said, is like we got to this trailhead where it feels like a first record all over again. It's like it feels like the one where we sort of figured ourselves out a bit, and we're definitely planning, I'd imagine, to expand upon, you know, this record moving forward with other releases down the line.
Mm-hmm. And with your music, there's generally a very bright tone to it, and it sounds very upbeat and very happy, which contrasts a lot with some of the darker undertones of the lyrics and everything. So can you tell us more about whether this is a conscious choice, and how come you've decided to go about it this way?
Yeah, that's a great observation, and you're absolutely right. And that's like back to the original point of even the album art being this bright color, this cream, and then this kind of dark inner core. When you get the vinyl or the CD and you open it up, you'll see the inside is like it's like a dark, grainy photo of us, and it's bringing back that human element of that human confliction and that human feeling, and how you actually feel deep down versus what you put on the surface. And you know, it's that juxtaposition with the upbeat, you know, music and the dark lyrics is just like, I think it's something we do naturally. Like, in some ways there's a conscious effort, but you know, in a lot of ways it's just kind of how it comes out. And I think it's art, you know. And I think there's something about that. That's that contrast is like, it's thought provoking. I think you can read it from a lot of angles. Like, you know, you could go through a lot of the songs on Umbra individually, but I think the most extreme example, the most blatant example is like, I think Motown is such an upbeat, playful sounding song, but if you look at the lyrics, it's very, you know, it's not sinister, it's sexual, it's like vulgar in some ways, and it's like, I think that's just sometimes the way things are written naturally, and that's just like, that's, you can listen to it lightheartedly, or you can really, really listen to it, and those are two very different songs. And I think that gives songs longevity. I think it's just kind of naturally the way we've always done things. I think Dreamcatcher is a good example for me too, where although it's not like super fast, it's a vibe kind of track, but it has this like the sub bass going through, and it's kind of like
very happy vibe.
It's like a vibe song, yeah. But if you listen to what that's about, and like that's a song really touching on the Umbra concept of like this internalized conflict and this like desperation and this like this feeling that you're kind of keeping to yourself, and
Bad Love's another good example.
Bad Love's a great example, and I think you can kind of apply that through everything, loosely. Some songs more than others, but you're absolutely right. It's a great observation, and that's definitely something that I just kind of think do naturally. Like we've always, I think music just has that juxtaposition in a lot of ways, and we don't set out like, oh, this is the playful instrumental, let me write some, you know, really edgy lyrics. Like it doesn't necessarily go that way, but it's just kind of something, it's just how we write, I guess, and that's, you know, just the way it is.
And it's a great final product to listen to.
Thank you.
And
thank you.
For you, Collin, this is a little bit more about songwriting. So you've previously mentioned that it's kind of the most comfortable way for you to analyze and express your feelings. So what would you say are kind of the main feelings you were working through with Umbra?
I think, you know, there's a lot. I think it's like, you can take, I think Dirty Bombs and and Babylon, like those are both songs, just kind of being frustrated with people, like the sentiment of the verses in Dirty Bombs. You know, if I could boil it down, it's kind of like the frustration I feel watching people in person and a lot of people online, and what fucking social media does to kids, you know, in 2021 is like brutal. And it's like, Dirty Bombs, when you boil it down, a lot of it, in the verses especially, is kind of me looking at people in like society, and I'm like, why do people put more time and energy into like hoping other people love them than learning to love themselves? You know what I mean? It seems, it is so ridiculous when you think about it, but like sadly, you know, that's kind of where we are in society, where people value, I think, the wrong shit. I think their priorities are all mixed up, and you know, I understand like people struggle with confidence and self-identity, and I totally understand and am empathetic towards that. But it's just kind of me looking at that in extreme cases and being like, Jesus Christ, like I wish people would learn to love themselves a little more, and I wish parents would teach kids to love themselves a little more, and you know, be okay with who you are, and you know, being comfortable with that. And I think, you know, there's elements of that. There's elements of, you know, Live Again is a song by my father when he was really, really ill, and we put out a video for that yesterday. That song was like me struggling through that. My dad was really sick, and that's kind of my recollection of that. King of Everything is a song, it's kind of an extension off of a song called Tommy's Song from our previous album, Nella Vita. It's kind of the next chapter of that story, and how selfishly, back to the inner conflict thing, like how selfishly it's kind of my perspective of that story, you know, a year, 2 years later, and how I feel about it, and like how, you know, I'm dealing with this weird feeling of being angry and frustrated that, you know, I'm stuck dealing with this thing that happened. And it's, so there's a lot, like there's a lot of emotion, and they're all songs from a very real place. And whether it's, you know, frustration or grief or anger, or like it's sexual and it's lighthearted, whatever it is, like it's always coming from a personal place. And like I said, that common theme across all of those emotions and all those songs, a lot of the time is that inner conflict, you know, kind of bubbling up with all across everything.
And you've already mentioned the track Live Again. And as you said, the video came out for that very, very recently. And it's besides musically and lyrically being very loaded, it's also got so many different sonic aspects to it. So how did that come together?
Yeah, great question. I don't know. What do you think?
I think honestly that song is a very, like, verses are very simple drum and bass, and we kind of let the lyrics do the talking there. You know what I mean? It's like you said, it's a very loaded song, and it was weird because when you listen to the verses, you kind of don't expect that chorus to happen, and it's just like more of an uplifting, very happy sounding chorus. So really, it's just some things just kind of like fall into place, and we absolutely love gospel choirs. I know Collin absolutely loves them. They bring a whole nother dimension to songs. And this song was perfect for the end to kind of have that huge climax at the end. And it's one of 3 songs on the record that has choir. But
it's also kind of back to the earlier conversation of like, that is part of our DNA. You heard it a little bit on Nella Vita on one song, right? But it's like then now in Umbra, it's on a quarter of the record. Right. So it's like, it's like, I don't know, it's something like that's always been something that I personally love. And, you'll hear, but it's just been a matter of dragging those influences in and like how and when do we implement them. And this was the record where, like I said, it was like Nella Vita, we kind of dipped our feet in the pool a little bit. And then Umbra felt like we like, dove in a lot of ways. And a lot of that, Dallas, our guitarist, has a huge part in the songwriting part and like the early demoing process of the songs. And there's a lot of shit, he's not here with us, but he could elaborate on too with like a ton of, the 80s influences and all kinds of stuff. So yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of, it's kind of a tough question to answer, honestly.
It is, especially because Live Again also was like one of the first songs that we worked on like for this record. And like especially because it was in the heat of when Collin was dealing with that, we knew how much the song had meant to him and meant to us as a band. So that song kind of came together, I wouldn't say easily, but it felt natural the way everything happened from start to finish of that song.
Yeah.
And we're very happy with how it turned out.
Yeah, so very organically it sounds like.
Yeah.
What would you say is the biggest way that Grayscale have grown with this album? I mean, we've kind of already alluded to, but if you had to distill it down.
Yeah, I think we figured ourselves out in a lot of ways, and we refined our sound. It was Dorman and Nella Vita were finding it, and I feel like Umbra is like we've kind of unlocked something. It feels like, and it's something we are, plan to continue to elaborate on. Like I mentioned, like it feels like a first record all over again in a lot of ways. I feel like the way we work as a band, as individuals, as a group, using everybody's strengths, pulling the influences and the things that we love about music, and what we want to define our sound as a band. Like we don't want to sound like, like to us, we're just an alternative band, and we write rock songs, we write pop songs, we write ballads, but it's not like, we want to be the best version of ourselves that we can be. And that's, I think.
Yeah, it was just like a matter of strategically growing properly. You know what I mean? Like not alienating anybody. Like we didn't want to jump immediately into, something wild. That's why Collin was speaking earlier about those little things you hear on Nella Vita. And then we put out a song like Diamond that's like super pop. You know what I mean? Kind of just showing people like we love this kind of music and we can make this kind of music. And then, you hear those little tastes of those on Umbra. So really it's just us organically growing as musicians, as music listeners as well, as we're taking in things every day. So it just, everything feels right where it should be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And looking ahead a little bit, what does this album mean for the future of the band?
I think in a lot of ways, it feels like not a rebirth, but like, I don't know. I think it places us in this world where, in this realm of like, people kind of don't know what to call it. And I fucking love that. Like, we love that because it's not, we've never, like Adornment to us is just a rock record. And to us, we've never identified with like the pop punk thing and that world. Like it's, like that's cool. There's nothing wrong with it. Like it's a cool, you know, genre of music. It's just not something we've identified with closely. And it's like, I think this was just in a way like a coming out for us of like, yo, this is what Grayscale really is. Like, this is who we are. Like, I feel like, you know, we wanted it to be this kind of profound, like, this is it.
Yeah, and I think we just never want to give ourselves boundaries or pigeonhole ourselves, because I mean, we kind of want our fans to anticipate new things on new records and not be, you know, expecting anything. So I feel like the more we do grow like that, the more we can try things, like the more unexpected it is, and keeping that openness to it all is beautiful, because it lets us do our thing, and there's no limit, and it keeps everyone guessing, which is awesome. So.
And a couple of light-hearted questions now. So, you know, you guys are on Sad Summer first, and how's that been going? Are there any funny tour stories that you can share already?
It's been amazing. It's been awesome. It's been like, you know, it's been so fun. The crowd's been amazing. It's been tough because there's so many like COVID-related protocols. So we've had limited time like hanging with all the bands, just, which I understand, and they've done such a great job making us feel safe as artists and the crew, and they've done a phenomenal job doing everything they possibly can, being as precautionary as possible. But I don't know, tour stories. I don't know if we have any.
I mean, it's tough because it's like we've only done a couple of the Sad Summer, like the festival aspects, and then most of our shows so far have been just with the Main and All Time Low.
Yeah.
So I mean, really, there hasn't been anything like too wild, but it's just like getting to know, like we toured with the Main a few times before, and we're good friends with those guys. Getting to know All Time Low and kind of having fun every day with them has been great.
Yeah.
But
it's not a fun story, but the Main, like their bus broke down.
Yeah.
In the middle of the night, and in Mississippi, we had to like have this crazy thing where we had to like take all their shit and put it in our trailer, and our trailer was like so overpacked. We were like worried we were gonna blow a trailer tire, and then they came and like slept on the floor in our bus, and it was like there was like fucking 14 people in a it was just like
sardines.
Yeah, we had a little sleepover, but that, I don't know. Some of them got a hotel and flew the next day, but we had like a little mini sleepover with some of the Main guys, plus carrying their equipment. I feel like that's the only like story.
I feel like the one night we were in like Oklahoma, and we all went to a tiki bar together, like the whole tour. We all went out, and we stayed up till like 4:30 in the morning playing basketball inside, because unfortunately we have a disassembled basketball net in our trailer right now because the boys like the ball. So we put it together, and we'll shoot around a few days. But this venue in Tulsa had a basketball net, and we were up till 4:30 in the morning, just like hanging out and partying and shooting basketball. It was just a good time.
Yeah,
so
time.
Just a lot of camaraderie, a lot of good times. I'm sure we'll have some good stories at the end of the tour. Sure.
Yeah, and I saw that you guys used to deck out your bus in a certain theme for every tour that you go on. So what's the current theme of your bus?
Oddly enough, it is tiki themes, and like, which has nothing to do with the story of the tiki bar, but I mean,
it's hard to tell. I mean,
hard to tell.
Yeah, we can paint around. We got some tiki torches here.
We have tiki torches here.
We have some lights. We have a fishing rod, a Moana fishing rod.
Yeah. Can you show me that stupid pillow,
This
please?
is supposed to be like grass.
We have like flowers.
But it doesn't look like
this is like a
nice little toucan pillow.
It's pretty much everything Walmart had to offer that was anything loosely beach or tiki themed.
And it's like slowly disappearing because they're getting ready for fall. So we got the scraps.
We got what we could get.
The scraps.
Kind of, but it looks like a tiki bar during the day. It's very sad looking, which is exactly what a tiki bar looks like during the day. So it was good. We accomplished what we wanted for sure.
Love that. And if every band member had to have a theme song from Umbra, who would be what track?
Ooh, that's a good question. Bless you. I feel like Andy Vaughn, our guitar player, would either be without your Dirty Bombs. That man loves solos.
Yeah, he does.
Those songs have some ripping solos in them.
I feel like Dallas we joked about Carolina Skies, like just the way that song like is structured and sounds. It very much sounds like it could be on like a Disney soundtrack in a weird way, but like I don't know. But I feel like Dallas loves Disney. He's a big Disney guy. He's a big Mickey Mouse guy. So I feel like Carolina Skies could be his song.
Nick, what's happening?
Nick's song.
What do you think your song would be? Like if you were a song off Umbra, is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Pretty much, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. A tough one.
It's tough.
I feel like Kyle would be Dreamcatcher. I feel like that's like his jam.
That's my favorite song.
Yeah.
Off Umbra.
I feel like I'd be like a King of Everything guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
That's a tough question.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah.
But yeah, we did our best.
Something to mull over.
Yeah,
And
sure.
just for a final part, we've just got a very quick game of who's most likely to.
Got our
So you guys are ready for this?
pads and our pins here. So I guess we'll just write it. We'll write like horizontal, like this way. And then,
Yeah.
All right.
Awesome. So who's most likely to tell someone to say it to my face if they have an issue?
Who's most likely in the band
In the band?
to tell somebody person to
Oh,
say
it's in the band.
yeah, like which one of us?
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
What the fuck is that?
Me or Colin?
Oh, me. Yeah, it would be. I said me.
Yeah.
It would be one of us.
I mean, this
like,
man literally told people to say it to his face in a song. So, I mean, how do I dispute that?
Yeah, I feel like Herb and I are probably the most confrontational.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And who's most likely to get catfished on the internet?
Easily. Andrew, Vaughn, our guitarist, 100%. It's probably happened.
Yeah.
This is good. I like
Yeah.
this. Let's keep playing this game.
Who's most likely to lose something on tour?
Oh, God. This could go two ways.
I'm gonna say Dallas or me.
This man has lost the iPad.
Oh, you do lose shit.
He doesn't.
You know
like,
what?
He doesn't like loose shit, and you are.
I said Vaughn. I'm gonna change my. It's Dallas. Is going to be my answer. Dallas has a history of losing. Like we get a tour laminate every tour, like the tour pass, and he loses it. Like I think every tour.
Been good
Pretty much.
It's the only thing that I lose.
Yeah.
I haven't lost the iPad yet.
No, I know. I mean, I just
misplaced.
yeah, just
That's
misplaced.
tough. It's different because like it like sort of fits in some of our personalities, but sort of not.
Like,
I would say
Kyle's forgetful.
I'm forgetful.
But he's like, I don't know how to explain it.
that's a tough question.
Yeah.
That's a tough one. Okay, it can go multiple ways, but okay. Sorry, continue.
That's all good. Who's most likely to switch careers to gaming?
Oh.
Vaughn, for sure. Vaughn is a gamer. He loves video games. He's a fun guy.
And we talked a little bit about shooting basketballs earlier. So who's most likely to win in a sports match?
Oh, what sport are we talking? Got to be specific.
Are we talking basketball?
Ooh. Let's go for basketball since that was what we talked about earlier.
It's just we're not very good, but
What does that say, bro?
Nicky.
Oh,
Nick.
me. I think I am. Nick's a better shooter than I am.
Different shooters, different ball players.
Nick's like a really good 3-and-D. Like he's really good at defense and really good at shooting.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. We play 1-on-1. I feel like it's pretty even. But I'm putting money on myself.
Is my shit not legible?
It's not legible at all, dude. Like the way you write it is too. It's
Yeah,
like,
I'm sorry.
okay.
I'm trying to be better.
Would your answers change if it was ice hockey?
If it was ice hockey, yeah, it would definitely change. I feel like that would be okay.
Yeah, I've never seen Mom play, but I know he's good.
I said Herb. And he said him or Vaughn.
Yeah,
But I feel
you
like-
can't read my shit.
Him or Andrew.
Yes.
Maybe if you want to use the entire piece of paper
I'll try.
instead of writing
I'll
a
try.
12-point font.
I'll do it like
You know.
this.
That was kind of the purpose of the
Alphabetical.
notebooks. Yeah.
12-point alphabetical.
All right. And last one. Who's most likely to make the impulsive buy from Walmart?
Ooh. It's got to be. I'm going to say Vaughn or me, but mostly Vaughn.
Yeah, we bought a giant shark the other day.
Can we
No,
get the
not
shark?
that shark. From
Well, here's one of
shark. Here's one shark.
There's
to the
one
tiki
thing you
bar.
bought.
Where's the yellow
I
shark?
think
Behind you, Nick?
Yeah, here's one
And I
shark.
believe this is actually Baby Shark.
So
Wow.
yeah, I said me. Just I don't know. I guess not really. It's fun. It's definitely fun.
Yeah, I was going to say a shark in a tiki bar is slightly questionable, but
Yeah.
we'll roll with it.
With two.
Like Nick and I went. We've got like a basketball net, but it's not really impulsive. It's calculated. But yeah, and Vaughn is definitely the one. He just goes and
I have
buys.
we have to pull Vaughn out of Walmart before he buys too much shit.
Yeah.
That's how
Oh,
it is.
well, thank you so much for your time today. I really enjoyed that, and I hope you guys had a good time too.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
Thank you. It was fun.
Oh, best of luck for the rest of the tour, and hopefully we'll see you guys in the UK soon.
Hope so.
Yeah,
Hope so.
Alrighty. Take care and all the best.
All right, thank you. Take care.
Cool. See you
Thank
soon.
you.
See you.
See ya.